Fellow Toastmasters, I want to introduce you to a jaunty individual, and he personifies that word. And I want to talk to you about three things that he helped me with. And they're a little mixed up, but bear with me. You'll get the gist of it. It was 1994. It was 28 years ago. That's before some of you were even born. I was at a Star Trek meeting in Arlington, Texas. Our club had 10 members, and this gentleman showed up with his girlfriend. And then we went to dinner at the Golden Corral. And he sat beside me and he said, "You're a Borg, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah, that's my character." And he goes, "You're going to be a Klingon and you're going to be a president of our club within 2 years." Our club had 80 members. I said, "Okay, John, whatever you say." So we are about to enter the danger zone, friends. There's stuff in here that if you're not broken in correctly, it's going to be shocking to you. John worked with me and he made me a Klingon. And there you see his Klingon headpiece and makeup. And John excelled at prosthetic makeup, prosthetic pieces and makeup. Our club was doing so good that we decided to help when they had the 4 captains at Star Trek Legacy of Star Trek at the dinner gala at the Dallas Apparel Mart. We did so good in that we got our pictures in the TV Guide. And here you'll see me and a Ferengi named Gardner Porcio, who he did the makeup on both of us. Because of his great makeup, we ended up being in the TV Guide. And because of us being in the TV Guide, this is a scene of me and John. You can see he's a little fire plug of a man, a little firebrand. You can see us at the traveling Star Trek exhibit at the Dallas Science Museum. We did so good that we ended up on the cover of American Way magazine. A Romulan down there in the lower left, who later became his wife. I'm on there. There's Dr. Crusher. There's me again. There's a Klingon. And there's another Ferengi. John was responsible for the makeup of 3 people on the cover of that magazine. John was the kind of person that would rather have you get the limelight than him get the limelight. And that's why I'm having some difficulty showing you pictures of John. I can show you pictures of his handiwork. I can tell you that he showed me how to do prosthetic makeup. He also showed me how to do this stuff. Oh my gosh, it's C-prompt. Oh Lord, he pushed me, he shoved me, he made me do things I didn't want to do, and he just kept saying, "You can do it, you can do better, don't be afraid, do it, do it, do it." And that's back when Microsoft had Windows 3.1. There was a time I was living with John and his wife, and I'm a Mac guy from 1984 on, and we used to have some interesting discussions about software and other things. And you can have a mentor that you disagree with. You can have conversations. I use that term lightly. I digress slightly. There's John when we were at Roswell, New Mexico, and he's in his Babylon 5 outfit. And there's who later became his wife, Gail Rushing. This was in 97 when we were at the costume contest in Roswell. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something that, this is really, I open a can of worms when I do this. And as Gomez says, just because it's a bad idea, you can still have a good time. This is the bike that I first sold John. It's not the exact one, but I sold him a Goldwing when I first met him. It looked like that when he was done with it. It didn't look like that when he got it. It looked terrible, but he straightened it up. He became addicted to Goldwings, and that was my first one, and I ended up having 5. My third and fifth ones are, my fifth one is on the left, and my third one is on the right. There's this was all wonderful because John came up to my house when we moved in Greenville, North Carolina in '98. He came up with John and Gail came up in '99, and they were on his second Gold Wing, and they were touring the country. So I instituted a thing in him about motorcycles, and he instituted a thing in me about makeup. In 2001, John had a gastric bypass, and he lost a lot of weight. And when he lost the weight, he went for one of his lab tests. And when his doctor said in 2004, "You have cancer." Well, this was not a very good kind of cancer. And so his time was going to be limited. John called me and he said, "Put these coordinates in your GPS and meet me there." So I said, "Okay, John." And I was at a place between Tennessee and North Carolina called Deals Gap. And I drove up this path, and I'd been driving motorcycles for 40 years, and this one ate my lunch. John switched to crotch rockets, and I was on a Gold Wing, and we were at a place that looked like this. It was 11 miles, 310 turns in 11 miles. They never kill less than 2 people a year on this road. It averages an hour to go up and down the road. Needless to say, after I got up the end of this road where John gave me the coordinates, I said, "John, I don't want to go on this ride tomorrow. It sounds terrible." He said, "You've already been on it." And that's the kind of guy he was. He pushed, he pushed, he pushed. And he made you feel like you could do better. This is a picture of John and Gail before he died. And that was in March of 2008. And that's when John's trek went where many men have gone before. And I just know he's waiting there for me and you. Because every morning I hear him say to me the question that I'm going to ask you right now. Before you complete your trek to the final frontier, who will you help on their path?